Hi, welcome to Roman Where Kills TV, college football edition, in particular, Nebraska. So, after last week's exciting, well, believe it or not, it was an exciting loss because it was a really exciting game, our game against Oklahoma. Nebraska actually moved up 7 points in the polls, or 7 positions in the polls, and we are now ranked 70th in the country. Going into this game against number 20, Michigan State. And yes, we are playing at Michigan State. Now, what is going to happen in this game? That's the real big question. Is what's going to happen? We just took on, the number 3 team in the country, now the number 4 team in the country, Oklahoma State, and nearly won. We nearly won that game. And the only reason we lost that game is because we beat ourselves. Nebraska beat itself. Now, hopefully, that doesn't happen this time. Hopefully, Nebraska comes out and plays a clean game against Michigan State. And, right now they're calling a 5-point game. 5-point game in favor of Michigan State. Now, that's less than a touchdown. They're saying the 70th ranked team in the country is going to take on the 20th ranked team in the country and lose by less than a touchdown. Now, that being said, that should give Nebraska fans a lot of hope. And in fact, it does this fan anyways. With that, low spread that's being put on this game, it really makes you wonder a couple of things. One, Oklahoma only dropped 1 spot, despite almost losing to Nebraska. You look at Michigan State, they're the 20th ranked team in the country, and they're saying that the 70th ranked team is going to lose to them by, they're predicting by less than a touchdown. This really makes you wonder, the teams outside the top 25, let's say in the top 75, but not in the top 25, it makes you wonder just how good are these teams that they're predicting such close games between them and top 25 teams. And it really makes you wonder because last week it didn't look like there was much of a talent gap between Nebraska and Oklahoma, if you really want to be honest. Nebraska beat itself with stupid penalties, poor decisions, and a offensive line that, quite frankly, failed Adrian Martinez and the backs and the receivers. The offensive line failed there. The special teams kicker, Colt, and the backup kicker, who was in for 1 kick, couldn't seem to get the job done either. Hopefully the offensive line has been working on getting their blocking assignments and being aggressive, but being smart and not making stupid penalties. And hopefully the special teams guys have been busting their ass, kicking over and over and over again, working on their field goals, especially Colt, given that he is the starter. These are keys to us beating Michigan State. Our offensive line needs to do their job today. They need to buckle down. They need to focus on the job at hand and be aggressive, but be smart about it and not make stupid penalties happen. Colt, hopefully you've been working on your kicking, your accuracy, and your consistency with your field goals, so that if we have to rely on you to kick some field goals, you're ready to rock and roll. Because here's the thing. If Colt made his field goals last week, and the 1 kick that the backup kicker was in, he had made his, we would have won the game. We could have won that game. We beat ourselves. We could have won that game despite the offensive line's failures. So today we need a clean game where we don't have any stupid penalties. Obviously, penalties happen. Statistically speaking, the possibility of a clean game is not very likely. But that being said, we need to make sure that any penalties that do occur are not stupid penalties. And really, any penalty is a stupid penalty, but, you all know what I mean. This is a must-win for Nebraska. Because here's the thing, we beat Michigan State, we're going to really jump up in the rankings. Because we almost beat a top 5 team, and then we beat, and if we follow that up by beating a top 25 team, people are going to start looking at Nebraska. And we're going to be in that conversation for the top 25 teams. This game is really going to be telling when it comes to Nebraska's chances at a bowl game. Because right now, we still have the 2 biggest challenges left on our schedule, Ohio State and Iowa. I'm pretty sure we can beat just about anybody else on the schedule, including Michigan State. Iowa and Ohio State, they're going to be a major challenge. In fact, the rest of our schedule really is going to be a major challenge, including Michigan State. And we really need to buckle down. We need the players to work hard. We need the players to buckle down. We need the coaches to be doing their side of it. We need the coach, and we need the players to be executing their side of it with precision. There were a lot of great things we saw out of Nebraska last week. The passing game was on. Martinez did phenomenal. He showed himself to be an elite quarterback despite his offensive line failing to protect him as well as they can. And I chalk the offensive line issue up to a lot of it being youth. Guys that are playing on the offensive line, a lot of them are younger guys compared to the rest of the team, lacking in experience. And that's going to take time to build up. Hopefully, we can get there. But as far as Nebraska's chances at a bowl game, we beat Michigan State. I'm going to say right now we're going to make a bowl this year. We lose to Michigan State by less than 5. We got a pretty good chance. We lose to Michigan State by a lot. There's a problem that we need to fix. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, guys. I'm being practical here. I'm not trying to be negative about the team. Love the Huskers. I'm going in, rooting for them. I think they can win. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think it's going to be a win. I think we're going to win by at least a touchdown, maybe more. Though I would be happy with a field goal win, win by a field goal. The point is, I think it's going to be a hard-fought game. Nebraska needs to come in there with the intensity they brought against Oklahoma. And some of you might be wondering why I'm saying what I'm saying with this. Here's the deal. If we go back to looking at the other games we've played, Illinois, we beat ourselves. We should have won that game. We beat ourselves. 2, Fordham. We went in there. We were supposed to beat them by 40-plus points. We beat them by 40-plus points. Look at Buffalo. The Buffalo score was deceptive. There should have been at least 2 or 3 more touchdowns on Nebraska's side that weren't counted. I can't remember exactly now because it's been a while. But I remember there were at least 2. I think there was 3 touchdowns that should have counted, but due to referee error, those didn't count. But Buffalo, if you actually look at Buffalo's actually looking like a decent team this year. So the fact that we beat them is a pretty good sign. Are they at Nebraska level? No. Are they at Illinois level? No. Are they at Oklahoma's level? Definitely not. The point is, we should be, the Buffalo score is deceptive. And that actually brings up another thing for today's game, but I'll come back. I'll circle around back to that involving the refs. You look at the Oklahoma game. The Oklahoma game, was really a test to really see where Nebraska is truly at. And we almost won. We almost won that game, guys. I mean, how important is that? How critical is that? We almost won. If it wasn't for a couple things, we would have won that game. And that is very important to look at. Now, going back to the referee issue, this is another key to Nebraska winning. The Big Ten refs that will be refereeing this game need to be fair in their calling. One of the things that has plagued Nebraska, and every Nebraska fan will point this out, and even some non-fans, in fact, even sports commentators have commented on this. So when I put this out there, it's not just a conspiracy theory. In fact, I'm really surprised that the NCAA hasn't stepped in and investigated this. But consistently in Big Ten games where there's Big Ten refs and Nebraska is playing, consistently, almost every single one of those games, in fact, I can't think of one where it didn't happen. There might be one out there. But the refs have called penalties against Nebraska that when you watch the replay, that penalty didn't happen. Or they've made calls where they've spotted the ball and the ball should have been in a different spot. You know, this has happened time and time again to Nebraska. And even sports commentators watching the games with us have made comments about this during the actual games. This is something that needs to be addressed. This is something that needs to be fixed. Because if it isn't, then it's going to be that much harder for Nebraska to succeed in the Big Ten. It's no secret that there has been issues between Nebraska and the Big Ten. Disagreements and a bunch of other stuff. You know, there's no secret about it. That's just the way it is. You know, Nebraska's going to have to fight that much harder to overcome these refs. Hopefully the refs today, I'm really hoping for it, hopefully the refs today are very fair in their calling and don't do what previous Big Ten refs have done against Nebraska. I don't know what's going on there. Definitely worth the NCAA investigating the Big Ten and their referee staff to figure out why there is so much bias against Nebraska, or at least the appearance of bias against Nebraska. I'm not going to say it's intentional because I don't know, and it needs to be, but it needs to be investigated. The fact is, even sports commentators have commented on this. You know, why are these penalties that didn't happen being called? Especially when and a lot of these penalties, when they're called, are called at critical moments in the game where Nebraska has done something that should shift the momentum back in Nebraska's favor. You know, that's when these penalties seem to happen. This is very important to understand. This is very important to look at. This is something that, for the fairness of college football in general, needs to be looked at. You know, we need every game played in college football to be called by refs who are going to be neutral, fair, and balanced in their calling. And only call a penalty when there's an actual penalty. Only spot the ball where they honestly think the ball was when the player was down. You know, not shifted back and forth. You know, I think today, hopefully the refs are fair and balanced. I'm hoping that the O-line has been working on their stuff so they come out there and they're yet aggressive, yet, smart about it. Hopefully the defense comes out and keeps doing what it's doing, because really, Adrian and the defense carried the team last week. So hopefully the defense comes out and just does what they do best. Hopefully Adrian Martinez is still on top of things. Hopefully the O-line comes out. Hopefully everything just falls together. Hopefully Cope and the backup kicker have been working on their field goals and their accuracy and consistency with that. That would be awesome. That's what I'm hoping they've been doing. I hope they've been working really hard. Not going to address the injuries right now because I really didn't do a whole lot of research into it, but looks like we got a guy out the rest of the season, which sucks. But yeah, like I said, hopefully everything falls together and we come out of this with a win, with a clean game, with, it'd be awesome if we came out there and just completely destroyed Michigan State, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be a close game. I think if we play a clean game and we play hard, we play aggressive, we play physical, we start utilizing the receiving core a little bit more. They actually did great last game, too. When Martinez had time to pass to him. Some great plays were made. Like I say, if we can come out there and we can play with the intensity we played last week, but have a clean game, a smart game, we stand a very good chance of beating Michigan State. In fact, I'd say we got, if we can do that, we got at least a 90% chance of beating Michigan State, maybe more. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to come down to the very end. I think it's going to be really close. And overall, I think it's going to be a good, exciting game. I think it's going to be a good, interesting game. And I see Nebraska moving up in the rankings after this game, especially if we win. This game really, you got to take it one game at a time, but this game really is going to be a tell about Nebraska's chances at making a bowl game. We can beat Michigan. If we can beat Michigan State, we can beat Michigan. We're probably going to beat Northwestern. Northwestern is looking terrible. Northwestern, we have them next week, and then following week we have Michigan. Not going to look too much further out on the schedule. This is going to be an interesting game. That being said, dogs are doing whatever they're doing. So might want to look into that. So I'm going to I'm going to end it a little bit shorter than normal. Go Big Red, and let's see what happens.